Most of the companies that tell you, oh, we're so good, we don't ever have to advertise, it's all on word of mouth. A lot of times they're lying to you.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I wanna be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today as Edmonton Business Coach, we're talking about the lies about word of mouth marketing. Again, as the Edmonton Business Coach, we're talking about the lies about word of mouth marketing. I have Michael here with me. Michael, have you ever heard a business say that they build everything based on word of mouth marketing? Have you ever heard that come from somebody before?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I have, and I think some people out there have heard it too. Michael's probably more of a realist where you think people should advertise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But some people think that you shouldn't. So here's the quote that I'm going to give you. It's the Gary Vaynerchuk quote, and he says, "Your number one job is to tell your story to the consumer wherever they are, and preferably at the moment they are deciding to make a purchase." And 50% of all Canadian businesses will go out of business in the first 5 years, and 42% of these failed business owners will list their inability to attract enough customers as one of the primary reasons for their failure, making the inability to attract enough customers as the most significant reason for business failure. And the story that we have here, business owners think that profitable companies, successful companies, don't advertise. I don't know who told them this myth, but this is what they're hearing. So Michael knows that they need to advertise, but these guys don't. So Michael, what are the questions that these companies, these people should be asking?
Are companies who often say they don't advertise often not lying?
Yeah, so companies who say that they don't advertise, they're lying. Most of the time, 99.99% of the time, they're lying. And I'm going to show you, we're probably going to talk about a couple of examples, but I think most of the companies that tell you, oh, we're so good, we don't ever have to advertise, it's all on word of mouth, a lot of times they're lying to you.
Why should you look at the vehicles of companies who say they don't advertise?
This is my favorite one. We don't advertise. Everything's on word of mouth. But yet they have a $5,000 auto wrap on their truck or their car or something else. And they're telling you that they're so good that they never have to advertise. And you go and take a look at their vehicle and they've auto wrapped their car and spent thousands of dollars to auto wrap a vehicle or put decals on it, with the phone number asking for people to call. That's the first thing to catch one of these people who say they build everything on word of mouth alone.
Why should you look at their print materials?
Mm-hmm. So then this company who says they build everything, they're so good that they do everything word of mouth, and they hand over their print materials. They printed this glossy brochure with, they have pictures of before and after. They got testimonials. They got a fancy contract there, and they have all kinds of print materials. Their business card, it's got some metallic lettering on it, or the fancy thick stock that they have, but yet they don't spend any money on marketing. It's all through referrals. So again, you see on the vehicle, you start to see the print material that they've given you or they have lying around in their office, and they're telling you it's all based on word of mouth. And now you've seen two examples of how they're lying already.
Why should you look at the website of companies who say they don't advertise?
Well, they've said they do everything based on word of mouth alone, but yet they need a website. Websites cost money, right? You got to pay for domain hosting and someone to update it and someone to upkeep it. And they're saying everything's based on word of mouth, but yet they have a website and they got a form to fill out for prospective new customers, and they probably got testimonials from old customers on there. They got an offer, and they're describing their products and services, and they're advertising the qualifications of the team that they have and their experience. That doesn't seem like word of mouth to me. That seems a lot like marketing. But again, that's one of those other examples that I think these companies who say that it's all based on word of mouth, it's an easy way to catch them in that lie.
Do you often see companies who supposedly don't advertise at trade fairs?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. So it's a business built on referrals. And we only do work word of mouth. And they're actually saying this at a trade fair where they paid thousands of dollars for a booth to build and pay their employees to sit there and talk to potential customers, but yet it's all based on word of mouth. So, we just see these examples over and over again. They've auto-repped a vehicle. They spend a bunch of money on print material to give to prospective customers. They spent thousands of dollars on a website. They have, spent thousands of dollars to be at a trade fair and develop a booth, but yet it's all based on word of mouth marketing alone. They are lies. Lies. Don't follow them. And if you want to build a successful business, let's look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. That's the key.
Is there a limit to how big your company can grow by word of mouth alone?
There is, because there tends to be like a circle. You have like the circle of your raving fans, and you can only touch so many of those raving fans. You might be able to get more peripheral customers, right? But your ability to generate referrals outside of those raving fans are going to get smaller, and it's harder to get those raving fans. Only a certain percentage of all customers even have the psychology behind them to be those raving fans and to actually go refer people to your friends and family. So if you just hope that you get to your capacity and then you're going to have enough raving fans to generate referrals, it's generally not going to happen. So your ability to grow your company scalably, to larger levels and to be truly scalable, it's not going to happen by word of mouth alone.
Do the biggest companies in the world advertise?
Yeah, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Let's look at the Chevrons. Let's look at the Apples. Let's look at the Microsofts. Let's look at the Facebooks and the Googles of the world. They're advertising. Apple advertises. They spend millions upon millions of dollars in advertising, and they're the biggest company in the world, and people love them. People line up around the streets. And they have raving fans that tell their friends and tell their family, and this is why you should use it. But yet the biggest companies in the world still advertise. And some people are thinking that, the successful companies are word of mouth alone. And I encourage you, first of all, look really skeptically at any company who ever tells you that, and look at those, couple of basic things that I already told you that they're likely doing. And then look at the biggest companies in the world and ask yourself, the biggest companies, the most successful companies, the ones with the most raving fans already, who are generating the most referrals already, advertise. Why shouldn't you?
Do people mistakenly think that they're desperate if they advertise?
Yeah, a lot of people think that, well, if I advertise, they're going to think I'm desperate for work. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, Michael, have you seen any Apple advertisements?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have an Apple or Samsung phone?
I have a Samsung.
You got the Samsung. So you've seen the Samsung advertisements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Samsung is desperate? Would you classify them as desperate for your business?
No.
No. But yet they advertise to you, right? It generates that awareness. And I would think that it's kind of the opposite, is the businesses that don't advertise, it's probably because they can't afford to advertise. And they're probably desperate. Because they can't even afford to run an ad. They can't afford to, develop a piece of print material. So customers think that, people think that they don't want to toot their own horn. You're going to need to toot your own horn as a business owner, and the customers aren't going to think that you're desperate. You're just going to be top of mind. There's a lot of clutter out there, and you've got to be top of mind. They're not going to think that you're desperate. They're just not going to forget about you. And if you don't advertise, they're going to forget about you.
Will advertising help you convert word of mouth referrals?
Yes. Yeah, and that's one of the other things that people think about, is that they have a real strong word of mouth program. They're generating a lot of referrals, but they forget that the non-word of mouth advertising initiatives help convert those word of mouth initiatives. Those word of mouth, referrals come to you, look at the Google reviews, and they see that you have them. Before they decide, 88% of them will, look at your Google reviews before they decide to do business with you. And that number doesn't change if it's a word of mouth referral. That same person is going to look at your website that you put thousands of dollars in. They were referred to you by their friends or family, but they're still going to look at the website. And then they could potentially be retargeted by your retargeting ads, and they're going to look at your content that you put on YouTube. So even if you rank word of mouth referrals as one of higher up in your advertising initiatives, you have to realize that all of those other initiatives that you're doing help support and convert those word of mouth referrals.
If you don't advertise, will employees think that their ability to advance is limited?
A lot of times I think so, yes. So if you don't advertise, your employees are going to look and think that, well, hey, this company can only get to a certain size. The only business that ever comes in here is the business that the owner meets. They play golf with their friends. You know, they went to a kid's birthday party. That's the only business. How am I ever going to grow? You know, they start looking about, you know, how am I ever going to move up in this company? Because this company can never, you know, generate a single piece of business that the owner isn't directly tied to. So myself as an employee, you know, you start to connect the dots and see that your advancement is limited.
How will the inability for employees to move up generally affect quality?
So then you have employees who feel that their advancement is limited and they realize that this is just a dead-end position. So now we're tying it all the way back. So we're thinking about why you only do word-of-mouth advertising. The employees start to see that, you know, every piece of business only comes in, they do business with the business owner. They think, well, I can never be at that level. I'm going to have to go elsewhere and do this myself. But if they see leads that are coming in and they're not tied to the business owner, they see that there's a scalable advertising initiatives that are working here, they realize that they can get to a completely other level for staying with this company than going out on their own. Because if they go out on their own, it's going to be really tough for them to build those automated marketing initiatives that actually work. So you get these motivated employees who realize that, man, you know, I should produce at a higher quality because someone is going to be necessary to play key positions in this company because this company is growing. You know, and I better, you know, put my nose to the grinding stone here because what I do here matters and it's going to help me advance my career because someone is going to move up in this company and I hope it's me. So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And as always, please leave us some comments so we can respond back and use your input for future videos. Thanks very much.